Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 9 of the Slot 1 Super Podcast. 9 weeks. Oh my goodness.
What a journey.
Chat's already telling me to hop on breakers. We have all this stuff planned to talk about. No worries. We have a special breaker segment where me and Dokkan Assets are going to break down and play a game live. Not really. But all right, thanks for everyone. Ning is like, thanks for everyone for hopping by. We have I can't say we have a lot to talk about. You know, it's kind of been a little dry period in Dokkan, but of course I have to let everyone know of the awesome gamers here as well. Not just me, you know, to splash. We have this side right here. I think is I don't know if it's Ningen or Dokkan Assets. What I think this.
This guy's confused by the mirror image aspect of cameras.
This is Ningen.
Hey!
We have the mask Ningen here.
How's
and
it
then
going?
we have Dokkan Assets right
Hello.
this way. Well, this way. However it works. The cameras, because
He's figuring it out. He's got it, bro.
Fine.
He's got it.
It's fine. So, anyways, let's just honestly, we'll hop into the first topic today, and we have Halloween spooky time, right?
This is Halloween.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we got some free-to-play units that are they're free-to-play. So you know, I'll let Ningen talk about them because I saw Ningen upload a video about one of the free-to-play units in a bit. So, like an hour or two ago, like I think it was a Deborah. So let us know what you think about. You say Ghost Deborah, but I say Married Deborah because it's.
Oh, isn't it like Angel Deborah? But I put Ghost Deborah because the SSR
Deborah,
art looks like a ghost, doesn't it? It has like the little thing at the bottom.
Yeah. Roxy, I think you have the Oolong and the launcher on the screen, but that's fine too. We could talk about the.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have them up first because I listed them first in the outline, but we can go over both of them a little bit because. I feel like they're both kind of in the same boat, right? Where they both kind of suck. I don't know if this is just
me. It's not just you.
We'll talk about Oolong and Launch first, I guess. But yeah, very, very odd design for a unit. Considering they get all of their stats like on the turn 1, and then they slowly but surely drop off in stats. They get dodge chance, which is nice, but it's yeah, I mean, like, I think when I loaded it up to do my showcase, like, their turn 1 defense, it was like, oh, this is not bad. It was, like, with, like, Bulma support and stuff as well, but it was like, oh, this is all right, I suppose. But then you kind of realize it's like, it's all right, I suppose, and then it gets worse every turn from there. So it's, yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate. It's a cool, like, it's a funny idea for a card. I think I saw someone say on Twitter, like, took someone a while to notice, is, it's like they both transform. So it's kind of like an interesting. Oh, well, there you go. A good pairing. Of course I know him. He's me. But yeah, it's a good pairing of a unit because obviously they're both on Earthlings, Earthbred Fighters. Like, they have some, they're not like one of those joined forces units where they just jam 2 characters together and then they don't get any categories outside of, like, joined forces. But yeah, I don't know. Just overall, very disappointing. It's become one of those things where we obviously now the trend is obviously next year when we get the new Halloween card, this unit will easy A, and it's like I guess that's their only chance for them to potentially be good because they're not very good now. So after doing that initial showcase, I can't imagine I will use them again anytime soon. So I don't know if before we move on to Deborah, I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts on them.
I mean,
like,
no, go ahead, Minato. Go ahead.
No.
I don't have any thoughts on the
host,
kit, so
I say you have to say something now.
Me?
Yeah,
you got to tell us about the animations because we all want to know about the cursed
I like the animation.
Oolong Kid Goku.
Oh, no, well, I was just gonna say like, not only just the animations, but also from the perspective of like, obviously these Halloween units, right, are the kind of like opportunity we get every year to have like a little bit more of a unique character kind of join the fray, I guess is the way to put it, right? They're always a character that's a little bit silly, right? Somebody that maybe normally you wouldn't even really think about adding into Dokkan. And I don't know, like Oolong and Launch is such a funny combination because obviously they do interact in like OG Dragon Ball, but I obviously the whole reason why they paired them up for this is because of course they both transform. That's the whole like bit behind them. I think they are really good. Ironically enough, talking about the animations, I'm actually going to record my video. I meant to do it yesterday and then I just got busy doing other stuff. I completely forgot about it, so I'm going to do that today and then upload a video tomorrow. But I think it's pretty good. They've been cooking on the free-to-play animations honestly lately. I've been pretty impressed with them, so I think it's pretty good. And it's another one of those units that has that very like Dragon Ball-esque like OG Dragon Ball sort of art style. So that's always lovely to see in Dokkan that, you know, it's nice that they care about OG Dragon Ball to a certain extent, I guess. So if anything, that's nice.
I love OG Dragon Ball representation. So
Yeah,
even though
me
the
too.
unit sucks, it's awesome. To me,
That's
it's
what
I
awesome.
agree.
That's one way of
I
looking
agree
at
with
it. Even though it sucks, it's awesome. There's some positivity there for you.
Everything is awesome.
I would say I remember I was like translating the kit and looking and I was like, that's a minus symbol. And I was like, oh, but they get dodge.
You were like, huh?
I was like, huh?
I feel like everybody did the same thing. It's like you read the first line of their kit that says like
You're like, hold on a second.
628% or whatever it is, and then you go, and then you read the next bit and it's like, oh, okay, I see.
That's a good impression of that one. That meme.
I think when they EZA, they could be interesting. For sure. Like obviously with the actual attack and defense debuff going lower, maybe the dodge chance builds up quicker. And then they get like quad super in turn 5, so that's like somewhat interesting. So like if they get like turn 5 triple super attack and then they get all that defense raise, their defense stack could probably still like post EZA become interesting, like to an interesting level, but like they'll easy in like a year or two or something like that. Like
Well, yeah,
something
it'll be. Won't it be next year? Because wasn't Angel Deborah last year? Excuse me.
yeah, Angel de Burr came out last year, so like next year.
Yeah.
So we'll see when that happens, but I'm excited to see what they could turn out to be as an EZA.
Yeah.
Now with the Deborah really quick here. I mean, we kind of talked a little
Deborah.
about it. Deborah kind of sucks. He's kind of like, he's okay. I mean, when I
Nice.
saw him, I was like, he has potential because he has the dodge, but it just, I think the reason why I'm gonna say he's okay is because he at least has dodge that's built in and super class, and then he's
Yeah, that's
giving
good.
40% support is absolutely nasty, right? It's a
That is very
disgusting
good, yeah.
drop off. So that's why I'm like, you could run him. I wouldn't say he's good on his own, but if you consider that he's supporting and he at least has a chance to live compared to other free-to-play units, in terms of a free-to-play unit, he's pretty fine, but he's just very restricted. And I feel like PyCon is not really in the best spot obviously right now, so that also does hurt him. But I saw Ningen was like, he's garbage. I disagree.
Yep.
I don't think he's
I
garbage,
disagree.
but
Unrunnable trash
He
garbage.
he has
Dang.
value.
Nope.
man.
Unrunnable trash garbage. I said it in the video that I put up. If a unit's going to be locked to one team, I don't mind that, but just make them good. Like, I showcased him on a full
He's not really
superclass Otherworld
locked.
Warriors team, and for being on that much of a restriction, like the numbers that he does are just absolutely terrible. Like, giving support is cool, and having some built-in dodge is cool, but he's just awful. And that's on his best team, which is basically the only place you can run him. If you could
guess
just
that's
drop
true.
him into any team, and he's like a 40% support unit, and he had 30% chance to dodge, so you're kind of rolling the dice, then at least you could maybe find a place to use him. But like on his best setup, he is just embarrassingly bad, in my opinion.
And-
So
And the thing is that like
Dang.
Majin Buu Saga,
Embarrassingly, that's crazy.
like Majin Buu Saga and Otherworld Warriors, like the only team we can get PyCon is Otherworld Warriors, and that team sucks. So I see
he has
your
no
point there.
200% leader as well.
Oh yeah, right. So that's the thing. I mean, look, watch him. We're gonna get
Garbage.
Dokkan Fest PyCon that leads Otherworld Warriors 200% flat, and then he's gonna
Carnival
be like,
LR Pycon, eh?
yeah, he's gonna be
Carnival
three,
LR Pycon.
3 key 70% attack and defense to allies, and then another 70% to Deborah Angel.
Yeah,
And
and then maybe he'll be runnable.
And then he'll give Deborah Angel another 30% chance to dodge, and there you go.
Yeah, but no, be like all allies. He gives a certain amount of stat, and then it'll be like all allies whose name includes Deborah Angel plus 200% attack and defense.
Yeah, specifically Angel Deborah.
Yeah.
So let's watch. That's what's gonna happen. Believe me. Oh, I used both my
He
boosts.
said,
on the
"Believe
wrong
it.
Stage.
Believe
Oh
it.
my god, no! I wasn't paying attention. I opened my phone to link level, and I realized I used both my boosts on the wrong stage.
Whoopsie.
No. Oh well, doesn't really matter. I don't even care anymore. It's fine. But
This
yeah,
Dokkan novice over here.
Deborah's kind of mid. So I mean, is there anything else y'all want to point out about Deborah?
No, nothing.
Oh, and also, actually, just to make it even worse, how terrible he is.
He do be existing.
So last year, we obviously got a bunch of missions that you completed to get the medals to awaken him. Because he needs 104 medals to awaken into a UR.
I do not remember that.
Now that he's got
cow.
his Easy A, if you want to farm up an SA5 copy so you can get into SA15 for free, the stage drops like 2 medals at a time, and you need 104.
Excuse me.
So it's not even like, it's actually genuinely not even worth it. Like, if you're watching this or listening to this and you still haven't done it, like, just don't even bother doing it. Like, do the Extreme Z area to beat the missions and get the stones, and then just have them at SA10 out of 15, because you're never going to use them.
Yeah.
I would just use Kai's.
I farmed a bunch of the SSRs from the first stage, and then realized how many medals it cost. So I just did the thing where you awaken them all into URs and just go for like the 50% chance. But yeah, terrible.
Kai's, I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, that's a thing. And I popped in 5 Kai's.
Yeah, a couple of dosing Kai's in there.
Fair.
But yeah, I would say for most people, just not worth it, like, at all. Literally not even worth doing it.
Look, I want to make videos for the fuel play units, but I don't even care enough to do it. Like, I should, but it's like, man, no one's gonna want to watch. We'll talk about
right. I don't think anybody cares.
Like the World Tournament Easy A's, like no one wants to watch. Like, care about like the new World Tournament Easy A's. No one wants to talk about like freaking Angel Deborah. So it's just kind of boring.
You don't love Angel Deborah with all your heart?
Look, I'm just saying, I'm happy for Deborah and Pycon finding happiness, but he sucks. The power of love is useless. What can I say?
Okay. The power of love.
So, Angel Deborah. Oh yeah, someone in chat. Angel Deborah is here to link with Tectoa. Yeah, that's true, right? He doesn't even link that with Pycon, does he?
Tectoa.
Like, oh my goodness, we're
and she's not on Other World Warriors and not a superclass, so they don't even work together.
Crazy. Doesn't even link with Pycon. Like,
he shares 2 links with AGL Pycon, who is the best Pycon you could like run with him.
He is the go.
We just gotta get we gotta get in Pycon DCs, or I guess on global it's STR Pycon.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Blah blah optimal. Anyways, we'll continue on to the next topic here, but before we do, just a quick reminder for all y'all in chats. If you want to help support us at the Dokkan Battle Slam 1 Super Podcast, please feel free to go ahead and give a dono if you have any questions. If you want to leave any comments or give any shout outs, we'll read any donations and super chats at the end of the show. So if you have anything like that and you want to share, feel free to do so, and we'll read them again at the end of the show. But just want to throw it out there. Our next topic is a global centric topic where I could laugh at global players.
Dang!
If Annie's in here, I'm sorry, Annie, but no God Goku global. So
wow, that's crazy.
Just to give a little context, a lot of these global players were like, well, last year's Halloween's banner actually returned the same day unit, so this year's Halloween banner has to return the same day unit. Annie's not here right now. Okay, I see. Well, someone in chat said Annie's not there. So, anyways, God Goku ended up not being on global, and I'm just saying, I was there. I was like, let's take it with a grain of salt. He might not really show up. I just remember Ningen last week. He was like, God Goku's going to be there. I'm confident. And I'm like, I don't know, buddy. And look what happens. Kind of crazy, but I'll let our resident global main.
Yes, our global main.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on your global shaft?
I know, right? How am I supposed to start YouTube apology video, as I've had a continual lapse of judgment. But yeah, so it is absolutely terrible that he didn't return. It sucks. I mean, it's one of those things, right? Obviously, I was quite careful to say, like, even when I made my video about it, I didn't say he definitely will return on the Halloween banner, but I was really confident that he would. Because that's what they did last year. And I did a video where I actually broke down the timeline specifically. So he came back on Global, and then on JP, he came back on a banner within like a few days. It was within like a week. And then obviously this year on JP, God Goku returned on the Androids banner, which came out at the beginning of October. So it just lined up perfectly that if he then came out again on the Halloween banner for Global, then just like last year, the same day unit would have come back on both versions within like a short amount of time, right? So it seemed like the smartest thing for them to do, but they didn't do that. So obviously that now leaves many questions about when he will potentially come back. I think this is one of the things we talked about last week, but I don't see him only returning for the first time on the Androids banner for Global, because that banner's not going to be until like January or February, and then Saiyan Day is in March, and then he'd come back anyway because the previous Saiyan Day unit is always featured on the Saiyan Day banner.
A certified Super Saiyan 4 Goku moment.
I mean, that would literally be like it would be worldwide, like all over again. It's like waiting 11 months for the character to come back. It's insane. So, yeah, obviously a couple of options now floating around. Unless we get some crazy announcement, which obviously we're going to talk about a bit later, to change up the timeline for what we're expecting. We're either going to get Trunks or Super Saiyan 4 Goku next on Global. Unless the timeline does get fully disrupted, it's probably going to be Trunks. So there is the possibility that he could get put onto Trunks's banner, because, you know, we say all the time that they obviously do know to a certain extent what the community is like talking about and stuff like that, right? So you would assume maybe that they are at least somewhat aware that no one cares about Trunks. Didn't somebody actually no, I don't know if that was Goku. Didn't his banner perform really badly? Like,
there was some posts on Twitter where like the stats of different banners, like their sales and whatever came out, and Trunks was the worst performing Dokkan Fest of all time, not just this year, ever, period, which is crazy.
Say about that, because that is I hate Super Trunks from day one. As a character, I do not like Super Trunks in the series.
Interesting.
No, I was a Super Trunks hater from day one. I do not like to spread lies. When that came out, Super Trunks' banner came out like 3 days ago. His banner was still up for like freaking 3 weeks when that came out. And it's like, oh, the banner that had 3 days didn't make as much money as every other banner.
That's fair.
And so, like,
yeah, see, that's the thing, is stuff like that. Like, I didn't know that. I'd only heard people saying.
It's crazy, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Misinformation. You love to see
That's what I'm like.
My goat.
If we look at the numbers now, and he's still the worst selling Dokkan Fest, sure. But when the numbers came out, honestly, it was like 5 days into his banner, and his banner actually lasted a very long time. His banner lasted all the way until the 27th. You know what that means? That means that, because how they calculate is they calculate like the sales that went up while the banner was live. So what I'm assuming happens is, even if people are buying sales for worldwide, it would go into there. So because purely people were likely buying stones ahead of time for worldwide and etc. when Trunks' banner was up, the actual revenue his banner made, like, technically would be a lot higher, and I don't think it would be last place considering it's a Super Saiyan, right?
That's fair. And people like Trunks too.
Yeah, I think people do like Trunks. Overall, I'm a Trunks fan. I just hate Super Trunks. But
that's fair.
That's the thing. Like, it's just people. I see that thrown around all the time. And I'm like, that's probably not true. I don't know where.
That's the thing.
After this, I'm gonna look into it and like have someone like post the numbers or something.
Because I feel like whenever I see that, because I think when that came out, I think funny enough, talking about Annie, I think Annie posted like about it, and then I was like, oh, what's the source? And then the source was posted, but I think it was just like another tweet or something. I was like, I see. Because like I don't know, I feel like I need to see like Japanese sales charts on a Japanese website that's like something reputable to be able to be like, okay, this is for sure the case, right? Like it's funny to meme about it. But
it might have been like in Sensor Tower or something.
If it was Sensor Tower, then that's fine. But you know, Ningen, there was actually one thing that I wanted to mention, ironically enough. Mentioning Annie again, I guess the God Goku being on the screen just makes Annie's name be mentioned 24/7.
He's not even here yet. No.
He's not even here. The one interesting thing I will say is that they could definitely change, assuming like Trunks is next on global, right?
Mm-hmm.
They could change Trunks's banner because obviously this banner that global just got with the the Halloween banner. I literally forgot the name of the holiday. I'm sorry. With the Halloween banner, right? It was changed a little bit. A couple of the units were changed, and Majin Vegeta was put on this banner. And on Trunks' banner, Majin Vegeta was on there. So they could definitely change Trunks' banner to put God Goku on that one.
So I will
because
say,
they got changed.
Remember, Dogan, that's how I brought up that one thing, and you're like, "Wait, we gotta talk about that later." That's what I'm gonna say because we have something to talk about with that in a bit. We do have a topic specifically for that, but this next topic I know you'll love. You'll love this. Trust me. This is Heroes. So we have our, of course, Dragon Ball Heroes topic, and I will say,
Hell
if you're live on YouTube, feel free to give a like on the stream. By the way, I see a lot of people bringing it up in chat, so I'm like, well, we're bringing it ourselves, but so. Dragon Ball Heroes, the collaboration. We actually got the stream earlier this week, and we got the announcement of who we're going to be getting. So the two premium characters, it seems, is we're getting Crimson Mask Saiyan, Super Saiyan Rose 3. That looks like he transforms into full power Rose.
Hell yeah!
Then we get Super Full Power Saiyan 4, Limit Breaker, Vegito, Xeno.
That name, man. What a mouthful.
Oh man, it's so it's because like they use the super full power Saiyan 4, right? It was like kind of always been the name I think for like full power Super Saiyan 4, and then the Limit Breaker edition and Xeno as well. Oh man. So
imagine
funny,
like a dual guard, super full power Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker Goku, Xeno, and super full power Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker.
Well, that's like I always joke about Broly because Broly's name would be ridiculous because it would be like Dark Time Breaker full powered, like Dark Dragon Ball controlled, like so many other like acronyms that Dark Broly would have next to his name. I would be so funny if they added it in the game just to see how long that name could be. But
that would be a crazy name. But I mean,
would be nuts.
Me personally, I'm very excited for this hero celebration because I'm a Rose fan and a Vegito fan. Obviously you could probably tell because I'm a big Future Saga fan. So these characters make me very happy, and I'm like, that's awesome. Last year I loved Hearts. But I wasn't really like that hype for like the individual Limit Breakers. But we know when it comes to Vegito,
yes, sir.
And they're gonna have at least on JP, they'll have voice actor skills. If Global doesn't get it, that would be very sad. Hopefully they do because there's an actual English voice actor for both of these characters.
Yep.
But
well, that's the thing. Even Hearts' VA is in DBS or Hearts is so. The character that like, I'm sorry. What I'm thinking of is people were thinking that Hearts' VA would be Jiren's VA because like Jiren's VA was, I forget what that correlation was, but people were thinking that Jiren's dub VA was gonna be Hearts' VA for some reason. I think. Or something like that. There was some like weird correlation with Hearts.
I saw the thing that I saw people saying.
No, because Jiren and Dio's voice actor are the same English voice actor.
Yeah, that's it. Because Hearts' JP voice is Dio in JP. So a lot of people were saying, just get Dio's English voice to be. Right. It was like, they can't just do that. Like
right. It's not easy.
It's not like they would be like, oh yeah, Dio.
Right.
I mean,
that's just a meme. That's what people we think of it, but it's not like they're thinking about that, Yeah,
they just picked on him as a voice actor.
Right.
And even if they found a voice actor, I doubt it would be Jiren's voice actor as well.
That would be cool.
Like he already voices a character in the series, so it wouldn't really make sense.
Yeah.
So they would probably find someone new. But either way, it's pretty cool. I
Very
also think that it's weird because
Pretty
last
cool.
year we had three like Dokkan event awakenable characters, right? With
Uh-huh.
Hearts and the Limit Breaker Super Saiyan Force. Where Hearts did Hearts get his own Dokkan Fest event?
No.
He didn't, right?
No, he
No,
just
okay.
awakened from their medals.
Okay.
Which
I
was
wonder
really
if there's,
weird,
like-
honestly.
No, I'm saying I wonder if there's like a third hidden character still.
Oh, I think
there
there is.
definitely is. So
I feel like
yeah,
there
There's-
is,
yeah,
right?
Ningen, you explain it. You explain
yeah.
it.
So the thing that you have to remember, right? So I see people a lot because we'll talk about obviously Janemba and Metal Cooler in a bit as well. One of the things I see people say all the time is like, oh, they need to stop doing these SSRs that don't awaken straight away. The reason why they do that is because those units are then featured on the banner again when they awaken.
Right.
Because
They're fluff,
otherwise,
kinda.
the Heroes banner for the last couple of years has been consistently 9 or 10 featured characters. Now, obviously,
Yep.
it'd be cool for us as players, but if there were no characters left to awaken, it means every year they'd have to bring out 9 or 10 completely
fine with
new
that.
characters, which obviously, again, it's for us, that'd be awesome, but it means more
Yeah.
work for them, like more budget, right, and all that kind of stuff. So it's
Yeah,
easier
yeah,
for
yeah.
them to have like 2, or maybe even this year, I think we could see 3 units that don't
Yeah.
awaken, so that then on the next banner, they only have to do 6 or 7 new characters, because then those 3
Right.
units will be featured. But the reason why we're definitely still going to see a lot more stuff to come, and I know we probably all have something similar planned. I'll be doing a video going over a bunch of the different options. Is we know, based on the last couple of years, that we're probably getting 9 or 10 featured units. And so far, we've seen Rose and Vegito. We
Yep.
know Golden Metal Cooler and Modified Janemba will awaken. And then
Yep.
we've seen Toa, but she's a free-to-play unit. So that's
Yep.
4 summonable characters on a banner that's going to have 9 or 10 featured units. So that means there are 5 or 6 more characters that we still haven't seen.
Yep.
So yeah, there's going to be a lot of potential other stuff. We can obviously talk about some of the speculation here if you guys want. Maybe we won't
Yes,
go into
sir.
every single one, but I still think a unit that people were hoping to see could still be on there, which would be Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Broly.
Yeah.
I would kind of
Yeah.
prefer.
He's
You already mentioned him. I would kind of prefer like the dark masked Super Saiyan 4 Broly as well.
Yeah, Dark Broly,
but
yeah.
either one or the other, that'd be cool.
And I would say, people are like, what if Gogeta Blue still comes? I would probably say probably not. Maybe. I mean, he could, but I feel
Yeah.
like maybe like to save him for next year. Maybe like
It's a
next
little
year we
weird.
get like, yeah, it's because like obviously Rose 3 and Gogeta.
Yeah, it's weird how they've
Fuck.
mixed the like sagas
Yeah.
together now, which
Well, they
because
are
like I
they
didn't
are
think we
the
would see
same.
Rose
always
3.
Vegito versus Rose. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, right, bro. I remember I quote tweeted that from your tweet. I was like, bro, they can't keep getting away with this. Why do they keep doing this?
yes, Time Breaker
know,
Super
man.
17. That's what we need.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that would be cool. Honestly, I would definitely be down for that. I mean, I was talking about as well with like some of my homies, and I mentioned it on Twitter, and I know some people were like, "Oh no, you're wrong." But I mean, from everything that we've seen, I feel like this tends to be the case. I feel like a lot of the time, they tend to stray away from characters that are like too close to like normal characters that are in the game, right? Like I feel like
Yeah.
in terms of characters that they pick for the design, it's usually characters who are a lot more of like the outlandish SDBH characters that they tend to pick, because obviously they're a lot more unique. Like, they're not going to be putting in, like Capsule Corp. I mean, I would be down for this because it'd be cool, but like, like for example, right, like Capsule Corp, Super Saiyan Blue, Goku, and Vegeta, like just them normally, right? Like I feel
Probably
like,
not.
right, probably not, because they're not necessarily like different enough from normal Blue, Goku, and Vegeta that they could just advertise in another like Dokkan Fest or something
They'll
like
probably
that,
just
you know?
have the same name too, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like just
Yeah, because it's
normal-
just
because they're
Goku
not
and
the
Vegeta.
Xeno versions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not even the Xeno versions, right?
Yeah.
Maybe if it was like
No, those are the
Xeno
regular
version,
ones, yeah.
Then it's like
Well, it's kind
Yeah.
of like, I mean, they did do the awakenings for the base Xeno guys. Obviously, they awakened into
Which
Super
is
Saiyan.
cool,
But
yeah.
like, one of the things that kind of ties into what you said, it's like we got the Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4s for Goku and Vegeta
Right.
without getting the normal Super Saiyan 4s, because
Right.
we already have a ton of normal Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta.
Mm-hmm.
So I can kind of see like that point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's not, like directly like that, but obviously it's just kind of like generally speaking, that's like what I feel like they tend to stick to. Which I mean makes sense, obviously, even though it's a bit of a shame that sometimes, some of those like forms might not be represented. Because I know, funny enough, Zeta in the chat was just saying, and we've been discussing him too, like controlled Berserk Vegeta, right? Like obviously that one, the only difference is that he has a different aura, and I guess his funny eyeshadow, right? Like that's a character that I feel like would be really cool, but I don't know if the dev team would be like, oh yeah, that he's different enough to be able to,
I mean,
throw him in there. Maybe, right? Like I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
Doesn't he? He has like a whole different outfit though.
No, I'm talking about controlled Berserk Vegeta. That's what I was talking about.
No, well, I feel like it's Vegeta. He has different aura, so maybe. Oh my goodness, Tune in the chat. Dark blue Vegeta. How about? I'm not even gonna say anything. Tune Rami, you're amazing. Thank you for stopping by. Shout out to Tune Rami, but big tuna. Yeah. So I think like.
Mm-hmm.
Your points make a lot of sense with that Dokkan Acids.
Yeah.
And if we do definitely want to go for like the more like, outlandish characters that just don't even like even relatively similar, like normal Super Saiyan 4. We have a ton of those, right?
Right.
Plus like Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 is something that we're not really gonna ever see in the main series, right?
Right.
And I was thinking about it when you were talking about it. We were talking about like, oh yeah, they're pairing Vegeta with Rose. It kind of makes sense if they're thinking about the Easy A's, because like this year we have the physical Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta that should Easy A.
True. My
So
go.
it's like,
I love that.
it makes sense that like if he and the Limit Breaker for Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta come out together, and then they put Rose out now. I really do like that they're putting out Rose right now instead of waiting for next year just a Blue Gogeta, because this Zamasu team is really good. I'm hoping that we also get the Xeno. I don't know if they would call him Xeno Infusions Masu, but like the fusions of Masu.
Oh yeah,
with the eye patch. I hope that
cool.
he has a. Imagine they don't give him a different name, but I hope that
they have to
have a different name.
There he is.
And it's like
the goat.
Yeah, that guy exactly.
Yeah, I have some bad news for you, Minato.
He's a normal.
If you look up the heroes cards, that card of him with the eye patch, he's just called Zamasu.
Oh my god! At least have my floater.
I think he's technically the canon Zamasu.
He is
because he's taken from.
Because I think the fact that I don't know why he still has the fusion hair, but my general understanding, because the promotional anime doesn't really ever explain much of the story.
No.
But I assumed the eye patch and like the various like
was
bits
keeping
of
him
armor
together.
he has strapped on is because he's already like. The Goku black part of him has like died or something at that point. I'm not really sure.
I forget they did mention it. I would have to go back and watch the episode, but it was something like either Hearts took him like right before he got hit with the sword, or like it was after he died somehow. I don't remember the exact reasoning, but it was something like that. That like Trunks beat him by the time that like Hearts got to him. So very interesting. Yeah.
I guess another thing is. At least like it'd be an option to the team that you could use as a floater, which is nice, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is odd because like Zia said in chat, so like a Dark Dragon. Well, so Xeno, it's because it's like the same, because like how
that's different.
Like that's a cell from like a different timeline. While it's like this Zamasu is technically the main one, the main timeline. Or the main series, right?
Right. That's like Goku and Vegeta, the blue boys in STBH are technically the main Vegeta and Goku.
So that's why they're probably just like blue Goku and Vegeta rather than like this is intended to be the Xenoverse timeline version.
Right.
So they have
the Xeno timeline,
Yeah, at least the thing that would be very interesting with that eye patch Zamasu is one of the things that the Heroes collab cards do most of the time, this is stuff that people have told me quite a bit, is they try and copy what the cards actually do in the game.
They do, yeah.
So that's why, for anyone who was wondering, that's why Golden Metal Cooler seals himself when you get to like below a certain amount of HP, because he does that in the Heroes game. So that's why they made the Dokkan card do it. But someone was telling me that apparently the eye patch Zamasu in Heroes is like a mega tank, like massive damage reduction kind of thing. So if he did come out and had those similar kind of abilities, he'd be a really good slot 1 unit for that Zamasu team.
That'd be cool.
Because obviously the Tech LR is good, but once those certain turns go by, he can be getting hit pretty hard in slot 1. So having that eye patch Zamasu there would be quite good.
Yeah, I mean, you
And
can,
then
like,
of
switch him
course
around, I guess, right?
you already mentioned it as well, right? But obviously Super Saiyan 3 Rose, he like,
Mhm.
you know, I'm more excited for him than Vegito. I mean, you guys know,
I am
right? I've
too,
shown
which
it
is
on my
crazy.
streams before.
Honestly, me
I've
too.
got this man right here on my desk next to my monitor.
The
This thing, the
goat, the
Ichiban Kuji, it's
goat.
like the size of my head. This guy right here, as long
The
as he's not
goat, yes,
restricted,
sir.
like as long as he's not heavily restricted, he's gonna be on
I hope he's
Zamasu's
gonna be
200% leader
too.
skill. So
Because
he is
Masu's
just
team,
oh,
again, just needs like one or two more help. I would hope that he would be like a really strong support. I think
I hope
Zamasu's
he's
team
cracked, bro.
wants like a crack like support unit.
I could see with him having the transformation, I could see him being kind of like Hearts, right, where he supports and then when he transforms, then
Yeah,
he just
then
goes
he
crazy.
cooks,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Crazy offensive.
I could see it.
I could see that's what I'm
Honestly,
saying.
like
I feel like I don't really see him being like a tanky defensive unit, which the team doesn't really necessarily need. We have like Angel Zamasu, Tech Fusion Zamasu,
yeah.
right? I think we're fine on like tanks, and obviously we have a lot of damage dealers, so I think we need like utility. Like, what if
Yeah.
he has a
He needs to be
scout?
physical as well.
Physical? Yeah.
That team has
physical,
no
'cause, like,
good physical units.
the
Like,
only physical unit is like Goas and Zamasu, but like again, they're like super class.
although,
so,
and I guess we won't talk about those because we don't know any of the details yet, and we'll have the future heroes episodes. But the physical demon Demigra is getting his
Oh,
Easy
yeah.
A,
He's
and
getting-
he's
Yeah.
on
He could
Zamasu's
be-
200% lead,
Yeah.
and he's already
Oh,
a support
really?
unit.
Interesting.
So
yeah, what if I just say give him 70% dodge? Like, come on.
yeah.
Just make him
Wow.
good, bro. Please. You know,
He's making it.
I will say, I am quite surprised. And there's something somebody mentioned in the chat I wanted to touch on in a second. But I do want to say on the topic of Rose, I am like absolutely two things. One, I will say I'm kind of shocked that they put both of these guys out at the same time because I feel like each of these could have been a headliner for a different year and people would have summoned just because of them. So I'm honestly a little bit shocked from that perspective that they did them at the same time because people have been wanting Limit Breaker Vegito for a fat minute, and obviously since Rose like Super Saiyan 3 and Full Power was introduced and even the mask, people have really wanted him in Dokkan. So I'm honestly kind of surprised that they put both these on the same banner, which this has the potential to be one of the best, if not the best Heroes banners, I think. Depends on who else is on the banner, I guess. But
Yeah.
I will say I am shocked that he is Super Saiyan 3 to start and then goes to full power. I was thinking that maybe they would do like my cope. My copium was that he would be like base form into Rose and a Rose 2, 3, and then full power, which was probably never going to happen, to be honest. But
It's like a lot. Right. And I'll actually,
Plus those
I
kind of
personally
units, they
prefer
don't handle those
Murphy's
kind of
Law.
units that well.
yeah, they don't really do that many transformations.
Yeah.
But like, I'm surprised that they didn't do like base into
Yes,
regular
same.
Rose as
Yeah.
like 1 year, and then the next year they did like Super Saiyan
Honestly,
3 into full power, or they waited a couple.
I don't know
that's
if we-
the character this year that awakens.
Yeah, I don't know if we had this
It could be,
discussion
I
on a
guess,
previous
but-
episode, but that was literally one of my predictions would be I didn't
Yeah.
think we would get Super Saiyan 3 Rose this
No,
early
I'm
because
shocked,
we
yeah.
all kind of assumed we were going to get Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, and they're separated by the sagas of the anime, so I didn't think they'd come
Yeah.
out at the same time. So I was thinking that we would get the base masked Goku Black as one of the SSRs that doesn't awaken this year, and then next year have him awaken into Rose 1 and release Super Saiyan 3 Rose as like one of the headliners, right? Because then they go
Yeah.
together. But yeah, they're just bring.
Exactly.
So I do still think we
Which
could
is
see
crazy.
base masked Rose as one of
That
the
would be
SSRs.
wild.
Whether he
Imagine
awakens
them
or
both
not.
on the same banner. That'd
Yeah,
be
dude.
crazy.
So
They
good.
do introduce characters that do Dokkan Awakens, right? You know, like members, Pan came out, she Dokkan Awakens, stuff like that,
Mhm.
right? So there could still be like,
Oh yeah.
Like,
I imagine because we already
Yeah.
said right. There's like 5 or 6 more units that we
Right.
haven't
Yeah,
seen.
there
I
will
would
be
think
more,
at
right.
least like 2 of those will awaken as well. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of crazy. Like I looked back at last year's stream, and the only units that they showed were the Awakenings and Hearts alone. That was it. So like even this year, I'd obviously
Well,
showing these two and then the
being fair,
Awakenings.
it's
Um,
it was the
The website that we got leaked, yeah.
website
The
that we
the
got.
website for SDBH that had like the little promo image had the limit breakers, and that's how we found out about that. But this year they're keeping it hush hush because on that image, they're actually not what do you call it? They're not like showing anything that we didn't already know. So that
Yeah,
was
the
interesting.
official image just has like all 5 of the characters, doesn't it? 'Cause
Yeah.
I was surprised. Like you said, they showed way more this year. Like I didn't think
Yeah,
they
they
would
did.
show 2 headliners, and they showed the free to play, and then obviously
Yeah, that
we
too,
knew that Metal
which is
Cooler and
true.
Janemba were going to awaken anyway. So obviously they showed
Right.
their artworks, but
Right.
the fact they
That was
showed
cool.
2 headliners after they showed the first one. Because did they show? I think they showed Vegito first, right?
They did.
So they
yeah.
showed Vegito, and obviously I know most of us. I don't know if Minato was. I know you and I, Theo, were both live streaming it. Both
yeah.
like had our little moments. It was
yeah,
like,
no,
oh, okay, yeah, there he is. There's our boy. Limit Breaker
Yep.
Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, and then it switched on to the next screen, and I absolutely
was like-
lost my mind. I was like, they're bringing the boy. So like, I can't believe they showed all of that stuff. It was so good. And
Yeah.
again, as we've already said, they showed more than we expected, and we still have so many other characters that they're going to show as well.
Yep.
So, God, my biggest hope, of course, as I'm sure all you guys out there, shout out to everyone in the audience. I know, you know, my channel, we have quite the following for the Heroes Agenda. My only hope and prayer is that they heard the feedback from last year and that these units are going to be tuned a bit better, like for the meta, right? Because
hope so.
Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, the year that he came out, Tech Trunks and even Mechikabura, the years they came out, they were like comparable to the Dokkan Fest that came out around the same time. Not to say they were necessarily better. I would say Tech Trunks was better than maybe one or two that had come out at the same kind of time. But then, last year when you compare Hearts and the Limit Breakers, like obviously they still have their uses, right? You know, I made it my life's goal to beat every event in the game with that team. And managed to do it all the way up to the anniversary for everything except Sin, which we're still working on the streams. But you know, we did Red Ribbon Army Red Zone that came out a month after Heroes. We did all the anniversary content, all the other Shadow Dragons apart from Sin. So you know, you can still use them, but compared to all the other Dokkan Fest, you think about what was it at the time, the ones we had to compare them to. It was like Path to Power, Kid Goku, the Gammas, and then it's like, and then you look at like the Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4s compared to the Gammas.
I just realized too, you know who came out not a month then afterward was Orange Piccolo. I didn't even think about that, bro. The best unit in the game dropped right after Hearts, man. Like,
being fair,
that's
it's
kind of
like
wild.
you're not going to compare them to DVLRs, but
No,
Yeah,
definitely not. But I just think it's funny in terms of like, you know, being on par.
mindsets that year to like make them more akin to banner units, and I think that's not the right way to do it.
100%.
Even though it's like
Yeah.
it's like that. Like these are characters that you don't really get to use too often. Like even like I think God Trunks relatively was like it wasn't like the Heroes team that year wasn't really like anything where it's like, oh yeah, it's one of the best teams of the game.
Yeah, it was just
It was still pretty good.
I think
it was solid
'cause-
enough, but
yeah, it was okay. Because I've always felt like, right, like when I've thought about these hero units, because I've kind of like, you know, of course the copium, like why are they not the best sometimes? I feel like the reason why, at least in my mind, that I would think from the devs' perspective, that they would like not necessarily want to make them like super cracked or anything like that, right? Like they could obviously be better than they are every single time for most cases, right? I would think that the reason why, at least in my mind, would be that they're very limited, right? Obviously, the banner comes around once a year, and, you know, if you don't summon on that banner, you're not getting the unit, right? Like, it's not like other banners where even when they, you know, debut a unit that might, you know, not return as many times or something like that, you know, either they get put into the unfeatured pool, or obviously you can buy them with coins or something like that. But obviously, for the Heroes units, that is never the case. It's literally if you don't summon on the Heroes banner, you will never get the Heroes units. So, I feel like from that perspective, I would think, you know, if I was a Kotsky, I would be thinking like, okay, because these units are so limited in that way, we can't make them super cracked, because then if we do, people who haven't been able to summon on this banner or weren't around when the banner came out, right? Like then obviously they don't have the opportunity to obtain these units. So, you know, they can't make them like the next craziest unit in the game because obviously they're so hard to get. So obviously that's just like, I suppose that's just a theory on my part, but I feel like from a logical perspective, that would kind of make sense why they don't necessarily make them as good, which I will say I do think is kind of a little silly, because like obviously, you know, just making a unit not great in any capacity is just never fun, right? And then it's like, well, for the person who did summon on the unit, then obviously it's really unfortunate.
I think that the reason why sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say the reason why I think that they're not as good is because it's GFSSR.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that too.
I think that if it wasn't like, okay, what would you guys think? The characters were just going to be way better, like on par with like or even better than like recent Dokkan Fests. Like let's say like Super Saiyan Rosy level was like Ma Junior level, but they took away the guaranteed featured. I would take that, but I feel like a lot of people wouldn't.
It depends.
Yeah,
Because I think
exactly.
a lot-
I think
I
a
don't
lot
know.
of people like heroes because if they
Yeah.
like heroes in general, like the characters and stuff, a lot of people like
Yeah.
them because you can drop like a couple of 100 stones and you're guaranteed to get some characters.
Right.
And obviously,
Mhm.
ideally, the way that it should all work fluidly is that if they make the characters not heavily restricted, then it doesn't matter if you only pull like 2 or 3 of them because you can
Right.
use them on a bunch
That's
of other
true.
teams. The biggest
Yeah.
problem obviously comes when they restrict the units, so you basically have to run a full heroes category team. So then if you only
Right.
pull like 2 or 3 of the units you wanted, you then can't make like a really good team for them, which is kind of unfortunate. So obviously for
Yeah.
people like us, like obviously every year I go all in and rainbow all of the
Yeah,
units
oh yeah.
because which is easier to do when they're guaranteed featured. It's the only
Right.
banner I ever do that on, right? Like most people
Me
know
too,
I
yeah.
don't go for rainbows on the first banner, but heroes, they don't come back for a year, and then because it's guaranteed featured, you're then less likely to get the units from the year before because they're in the
Right.
unfeatured pool, right? So
Exactly.
you kind of miss out if you don't get them when they first come out. And that's
Must
one
be
of the
nice to like
reasons
rainbow
why
units.
I think that's one of the
Yeah.
reasons why another topic that people bring up all the time, of course, is about whether we will ever eventually get a Heroes LR. And I feel like that's one of the sticking points, right? Is they don't know the best way to put an LR into a guaranteed featured banner because
Yeah.
obviously the LR you'd want them to be good, but that means that someone out there is going to do like 5 multis and rainbow the LR and
Right.
I
then
thought about something.
not do any
Which
summons,
that would be
right?
awesome.
That'd be
I'd
great for
down
them,
with that, but-
obviously.
I
But
thought about a very nasty idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
what's
Oh,
this
I would.
scheming?
This would be disgustingly bad. This would just be the worst case scenario. What if they give a Heroes LR, but then it's like with limited coins, and you can only buy them from the shop,
Oh.
like one copy every 200.
Hmm. That's
So
interesting.
one of the ideas that I saw somebody have, which I guess I kind of
That
would
is
take it
interesting.
maybe, because again, I don't want to lose the guaranteed featured, right? So
I don't
imagine
either,
if the
personally.
banner still is guaranteed featured, but there's a Heroes LR unfeatured in the banner. So you
That would be
could pull
cool.
them unfeatured, but you're never going to pull them as the 10th unit in the multi. But you could pull them unfeatured, and then the banner has the coins. So you
Yeah.
can guaranteed get one,
That'd be
and then
cool.
obviously along the way you could potentially. So because isn't it even every SSR in the multi? Because obviously the last one is guaranteed featured, but all of the
Mm-hmm.
other SSRs that you can get, aren't they more weighted towards featured as well on the Heroes
Yes,
banner? So
7%.
what they would do
Mhm.
is switch that back to normal. So the
Oh,
unfeatured was
okay.
maybe even. Because then you not only would it make it easier to get some of the older units, but obviously it would make it more easy to get the new LR who is unfeatured. But obviously the problem with that is, I mean, summoning is always RNG, but the problem is you
Right.
would obviously get a
Right.
lot of people that would go the full, what is it, 1,200 to get enough coins, and you would
Yeah.
never pull a single
Me,
unfeatured
hello.
copy, right? Like,
Yeah, that's true.
whereas obviously some people out there would get lucky and pull him the new LR like
Right.
unfeatured, but there's no
Yeah.
kind of way around it, right? You just have to get lucky with that pull. It's not like, you know, as I said, every summon is RNG. If you're summoning for a new Dokkan Fest, you have to just get lucky and get that pull. But it's like if you
Yeah.
get like a Zeno or a guaranteed featured animation, you know you at least have a chance. Whereas if
I'm
on the
saying
Heroes
is,
banner, which is guaranteed featured, but you're specifically trying to pull one unfeatured unit, it
Right.
could be an absolute nightmare. So I really don't know the best way for them to do Future Heroes LR. I think what they should do, or should start doing, is they should make the free-to-play farmable unit every year an LR, because you make the unit actually decent enough to be run, and then there's an LR on your team. Because one of the reasons among many, because, you know, LRs are cool, they have cool art, they
Yep.
get more animations, but one of the reasons among those many that people want an LR for the Heroes team is because the Heroes team has no LRs, their HP is lower than a lot of the other
Yeah.
teams, because they need these units that have higher stats. And that comes back to what we were saying about the mistake, like Minato said, them tooling the units last year to be more similar to banner units. Like the Limit Breaker Super Saiyan
Yeah.
4s especially have like way lower stats on average than the other units that came out that we would expect. Because I think they might have realized they made a mistake maybe when they put the Vegito and Broly through like the Easy A calculator, and then realized that they're going to be dropping those two Easy A's, and those guys basically have like LR stats. So they probably like pulled the handbrake a little bit and were like, wow, we can't give the limit breakers too high stats, because then when they Easy A, they're going to be absolutely insane. But I mean, obviously we would prefer that they do that, of course.
Definitely.
But yeah, so one thing I did want to say, because I did shout out, someone in the chat did mention it when we were talking about the potential for other characters. There's the Evil Saiyan Turles, which I think could be an option for one of the other banner units. Obviously, with Dokkan Fest Turles releasing this year, like him getting another character that shares those specific links, like Destroyer of the Universe and stuff like that, and that also has a different name. Because one thing I noticed, obviously, he's only just come out on Global, and we had an episode where we talked about him a bit more. Like his team, he really needs better slot 1 units to run with him. So if they brought out like an Evil Saiyan Turles and he was a good slot 1 unit, that'd be really good for Turles' team. But yeah, I'll bring up the other slide here, because obviously we haven't talked about these guys yet. But we have the confirmation that the free-to-play unit is Toa.
Which is
And then, of course, we have the artwork for the Metal Cooler and Janemba Awakenings. Theo? Thoughts?
So I did want to say, right? I think that, first of all, obviously, the Janemba and Metal Cooler, obviously, their art looks fantastic. That's kind of the art that we were guessing they were going to that they were going to have as well, because obviously, a lot of the time we can tell what these Heroes units are going to look like, because, we just look at the art that's in the game. So they did a good job on that. They also, I don't know if you've, like, taken a look at the modified Janemba, like, actual art itself, but they fixed his face, because funny enough, on the actual card art, his face looks terrible. I don't know what they were cooking or what promo artist they got for like the card art, but they made his face in Dokkan much better, which is very good. If you look at like that original SCBH card, it looks a little weird, but Koa, I think, for the free-to-play card, is a fantastic choice, right? Because not only is it just more Toas in the game, which is great, because obviously, we have a couple in the game already, and Toa is a pretty, well-liked character. Obviously, it helps too that, because she's in Xenoverse, she's a little bit more recognizable. But I think it's definitely a good choice, because I know for a lot of people, right, like me and you, Ningen, like for us, it really doesn't matter. Like they could do any SDBH character and we'd be like, oh, cool, so exciting, right? But it's like, I know for a lot of people in the years past, like when they introduce like salsa and poutine, I know that like a lot of people were, first of all, like, who? And second of all, just like that didn't really care about the characters as much, because obviously, they just like didn't recognize them. So it's kind of weird, right? Like with SDBH, it's almost like I feel like to have like a good celebration for like the general player and not somebody who's necessarily like a hardcore fan like we are. It's good to kind of strike that balance of like, it's still a character that, has like a different design. And they're obviously different than their normal, like, Dragon Ball counterpart. But at the same time, right, like their design is different enough to make them unique. I think like striking that balance is definitely something that helps make Heroes successful for people who, aren't like huge fans of the series. And so I think definitely picking Toa for that then is obviously a really great choice, because that definitely like kind of reinforces that. So I think it's good. And obviously too, right, in terms of like all of Toa's designs, because Toa has like so many different like designs and forms and stuff like this.
Yeah, she does.
Obviously besides this point, like, I mean, we already have the three Toas that we have in Dokkan are all different forms of the character, right? Like none of them are even the same form of Toa. So, but this is obviously a good one, because, not only is it just like regular Toa, but obviously, with the actual like design being a little bit different, with her in the lab coat, I think it works really well. So I'm pretty excited for it, honestly. It'll be cool to see what she does, right? I'm hoping that they make her, it would be cool. I'm assuming she obviously like won't be an attacker. If she's some kind of support, that would be really cool. And I will say
the free-to-play players are like support or dodging, right?
Yeah, I would think
depends,
so too.
Yeah, because like the lags from last year is kind of weird. Like she has some really cool abilities, but most of them are focused around debuffs and attacks and stuff.
Right.
Also, yeah, why shout out to them releasing a unit in 2022 that only had 6 links. So hopefully they don't do that with Toa.
Yeah, I hope not.
Yeah.
I will say too, the final thing I'll say about this Toa, every time we get a Demon Realm character introduced from STBH especially, I have to bring it up, bro, because it just feels like something that should be in the game, and especially with the fact that we got, Mechikabra and Toa and Poutine and Deborah, right? And we have all these characters. Why is there not a Demon Realm category, bro? I've been talking about it on Twitter every time that something like that comes up. I don't know why there isn't like a Demon Realm or at least like a Demon category or something like that. Like, I feel like Mechikabra would have been perfect.
Wouldn't the category have like 8 characters on it or something? Like,
see, I guess, but like the thing would be
because it have obviously like in terms of the mainline characters, it would only have Deborah, right? And then
it would have Deborah, the Toa, the Mira.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair,
you could maybe put Booze on there. Right?
Dragon Ball Daima, I think, if there are characters from the Demon
Realm. Dragon Ball Daima will also have demons. So I know, funny enough,
Demon Realm category.
Yeah, Air was talking about that. I know. Shout out to the homie Dokkan Air. I know he was also saying that like low-key Dragon Ball Daima could be the introduction of a Demon Ball or Daima. Yeah, could be the introduction of a Demon Realm category, which I think definitely could be the case for sure.
I mean, to me it looks like they're literally in the Demon Realm, but
yeah, that's what it looks like to me as well, for sure.
But that's getting into all the topic. What I will say is, what I don't even like, whatever characters they gave me, I'll be happy with. But give me sales this year, please.
True.
Give me actual sales. True. Because last year it was like the two the two specific green Dragonstone packs, whatever, or the
Heroes banner always has sales, doesn't it?
Nope. Doesn't.
I thought it usually does.
Well, I think on global it does, but on JP we never got sales for.
I'm pretty sure it does on JP.
Yeah, because
I remember.
Interesting.
I want to bring up.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember having sales because you know what? Maybe it was just the maybe it was just the current Dragonstone, the current Dokkan Fest.
Yeah, that's why, because they don't end the sales. They have to
right
this year. They have to not make the Dokkan Fest overlap with the Heroes banner so that the sales can end earlier, so that we could actually get hero sales. Because what happens is the sales are up normally, and then they have the just the heroes I think it was the Greystone. This time the Greystone will be in that special section in the shop, where they usually put the special packs. So I'm thinking they actually will give us the actual sales, especially considering that now they share yellow coin banners and JP are also getting sales finally.
Thank you for bringing up coins. That reminds me of something I want to bring up. Keep talking. I'm sorry. It popped into my head.
But I think that it's very nice that we are actually just finally getting more sales as a paying player, because yellow coin banners dropping like last year. Like if Ribrianne came out last year, she did not have sales. Right? There would be no sales for the Ribrianne banner. There'd be no sale. There was no sales for the True Might Goku banner. I don't think Super Boo had sales because it's the yellow coin banner on GP, right?
Don't remember.
They started doing sales with True Might Goku this year for the yellow coin banners, and that's awesome. So I'm hoping Heroes actually get sales in GP.
I hope so.
That would make me happy. That would make me very happy, because buying full price zones sucks.
Yeah, I double checked the thing on global, and because we got the resurrection of F Blues at the start of November, and their sales ended literally the day the Heroes then started. So there was a whole set of new sales for global. So
not for the.
It's good for me. I'm happy with that.
Yes, sir.
I'm not.
So you bringing that up reminded me one thing that I actually really wanted to mention. So what do we think, right? Because I don't know if they'll change it or not, but I would think, right, because obviously of all the shenanigans that have happened this year with the coins, do you two think that it will still be a blue coin banner?
Yes.
You think so? Well, it's because that'll be basically the only blue coin banner of the year, practically.
There's a couple, because the Peppy Gals one that's up on global now is a blue coin, isn't it? Because it's not a carnival banner. But yeah, they're becoming so few and far between that the blue coins are becoming basically useless. So
right.
I mean, apart from getting heroes units, I was joking about it with the Peppy Gals banner when it came out on global. Saying, there's basically nothing you can use these for. And then someone was like, well, you can buy heroes characters with them, which is
That's
true,
true.
right? Because although the
So
Heroes
you
Coin
can?
Shop
I
is
don't remember that.
well, the
Can you
Heroes
remind
Coin
me how
Shop
did
is
that
like
work?
super far behind. So if it was
Okay.
based on last year, I think the only characters that were available in the for blue coins was the characters who easy aid like the year before, not even the
Gotcha.
ones that were easy aiding that year. So it was like a few
Yikes.
characters, but like the much older ones. Like it's not everyone, which I think is kind of stupid because as we've already said,
Yeah.
with the normal banner being guaranteed featured and then every other SSR in the multi is more weighted towards featured already anyway, you should be able
Yeah.
to just buy all of the unfeatured characters, even if
Right.
they left the easy A ones off them, because I guess they don't put the ones that are easy A-ing that year because they want you to summon on that banner that only has the characters that are easy A-ing. But like at least put all of the other unfeatured ones on there, right? Because like I'm going to summon on that easy A banner for specifically for Darkness Toa, or sorry, Demon Goddess Toa.
Gotcha.
Because I think she's the only heroes unit. I have her at 90% instead of Rainbow, but I have so many blue coins that I can't do anything with. Like, why can't I buy that last copy of her with blue coins? But
hopefully this year that could be a thing.
yeah, hopefully
that
that
would
would
be
be a
nice.
very nice change, 100%.
So yeah, but I feel like we like, you know, I love you. I know you guys like love to talk about
more.
but
all the
we do
heroes.
have quite still some stuff to talk about regarding tonight's stream. I just do want to give a little quick reminder, guys, that if you want to help support the podcast, any questions, comments, or shout outs, any donations and super chats that you do will be read out at the end of the stream if you have anything. So feel free to go ahead and do that if you would like to. Just support us, right?
But yeah, well, there'll be more heroes talk in the weeks to come. Don't you guys worry.
Sir, yes, sir.
So much hero stock, man. I'm just saying. Good for y'all, but I love heroes too. Like not as much as y'all do. Because I know you guys can go on and on about heroes.
Yes, sir, forever, bro. See, that's why it was good we have Minato as the
Rose.
host for this episode, because he can kind of reel us back in.
Yeah, I mean, I let y'all do your heroes talk, but I think
Just you
we're
wait.
good
Just
for
you
now.
guys wait till the dedicated heroes episode. Oh boy.
Oh man,
Yeah.
just you wait.
3-hour podcast, dude. Oh my gosh.
Yes, a 5-hour
Tell me how.
podcast, the
That
first
would be
one.
gone halfway. It's crazy. So
Bro said, I'm out.
we have the Breaker stream, which funny enough, by the time of this being live, the Breaker stream is in what, 6 hours from now? No,
Yeah, something like
6
that.
hours from now, I think. So
Yes.
the Breaker stream is going to actually have some reveals for both global and GP. So
Yep.
I want to preface something. We'll talk about it at the first topic. A lot of people are saying this could potentially be a simultaneous like reveal because what it says is, oh, we're going to reveal some new
Yeah.
Dokkan battle characters. So a lot of people are saying, is it a simultaneous reveal? I'm going to start off with saying I don't think it's going to be. The reason why is because it says the characters on the JP version, it says the characters on Dokkan Battle that will appear at the end of October, whilst global says in November. It can't even be heroes for like in the global news specifically, but brand new info for the Dokkan Battle characters debuting in November, whilst JP is October. And obviously, global goes on Pacific time, which is essentially behind. So if the character in GP releases in October, there's no way that it would release in global in November because the global version would go off
PST's
like an
behind,
earlier
isn't
time,
it?
Yeah.
right? By almost like a day. So it wouldn't make sense unless it's like GP gets the same Dokkan Fest that global does, but just like a week before for absolutely no reason, like the Gambas, which I don't think that'll be the case. But I see a lot of people talking about it being simultaneous. I don't think it's going to be the same Dokkan Fest. I think it's going to be a character that GP already got that global hasn't gotten yet. But what do you guys think? Dio, what are you thinking here? I saw you talking about it, I think, on the timeline a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. So I was kind of thinking, like, first of all, as much as I would love for this to be the case, because it would be awesome to have some confirmation of what the characters will be, this far before. Haha, you can't escape the heroes talk, Minato. No, just kidding. But no, for real though, I don't think it will be the SDVH characters because it would be kind of weird for them to announce the collaboration characters for another collab that they're doing with another game on the stream for another game. Like that almost just like sounds petty, honestly. Like as much as I'm sure it's like not even hilarious. Right? Like that just sound like yeah.
Matsu
Here's
brings
this
out that guy from the hero stream, the guy that's allergic to
Yeah,
sleeves with like the guns.
right?
He just comes out
Right?
and like kicks over the breakers like console. He's like, we're gonna talk about heroes.
Let's go.
And then the
Yeah.
heroes team plays. Just
So
laugh.
going. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it would just be like, it would just be kind of weird, right, for them to do that. Like, I would definitely be down. Don't get me wrong, but it would just be, it would be a little weird because obviously the whole thing is that they want to keep the spotlight on breakers, right? So in that regard, I don't think it's going to be heroes, unfortunately. I think it will honestly probably just be the next Dokkan Fest character that will probably be coming on to JP and Global. That would probably just make the most sense to me, right? I mean, we are basically like, I swear we got the androids like a day ago, which that time flew by for them. Maybe it's just because I was in like
That's
content, but
crazy.
yeah, I didn't even remember she existed.
Yeah,
to be honest
the
with you.
androids came out on the 5th. So it's been like 3
Yeah.
weeks since they came
That's
out.
I swear they came out like yesterday. Yeah, but so like obviously we're due for another Dokkan Fest kind of around this time, so that would make sense that would be what they would be announcing. In terms of global, right? I feel like that's a little bit more of a tentative one, or like something that's a little bit more up in the air, because that could certainly just be like, oh yeah, Trunks is next, right? Or Goku is next, or whatever they decide to do, right?
I have a guess actually.
Okay, I suppose it could be a simultaneous release, right? Like I guess it could be, but I don't think it's as likely in my mind, right? Like I don't think that that's as much of like a higher possibility, but I guess it's something that shouldn't be written off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not like impossible for something like that to happen. I just don't think that is likely because of the wording. And Global's already trying to catch up, so it'd be weird if like the androids, like if Global's like
right.
Same time celebration into Heroes, into Tanabata in December, New Year's, and then maybe Sync 998. It's like, well, first off, I think they need a banner. They probably do want to return God Goku. I'm thinking because we this is a topic we were talking about earlier, where let's say Trunks. This is the reason I don't think Super Saiyan 4 Goku's next. Maybe
Probably not.
saying,
No.
what if Super Saiyan 4 Goku's next? Firstly, I don't think they're gonna split the Tanabata celebration like that. They did it with like people bring up like, oh yeah, Gogeta in 2021, but I feel like the Tanabata celebration this year is a lot more tightly knit together compared to like when it was Gogeta Janemba, when it was just Janemba came out and that was it. Nothing else came out but Janemba.
Right.
Whilst this time it's like there's like the Omega Shenron event, and then there's like all these like themes tied together.
It's very themed, yeah.
So I feel like it would make less sense to pull those apart for like no reason.
Putting something like in the middle of that just seems really odd.
Yeah, it'd be really weird. I mean, to be fair, hasn't Global done something like that a long time ago? I swear they have.
Again, with Gogeta and Janemba, but that's really it. And
I think there's something. I swear there was something else, but yeah.
There was the Resurrection of F Blues, and then the Part 2 Golden Frieza was like massively delayed as well.
Yeah, that's I think what I was thinking of. Yeah,
it's weird, but I feel like this is a major celebration.
Right.
It's like if it's perfectly in December, and then there's the Tanabata banner that comes out for Christmas, and that returns Super Saiyan 4 Full Power Goku. And it'd be weird if it's like, he's there, then he's gone, then he returns back like a month later, right? I just think
that'd be good though. That'd be quicker than he's come back on JP.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, when that happened with Gogeta, he wasn't buyable with coins anyways, but still, it's just weird.
Well,
and
plus
another thing is the Trunks banner. I want to say Trunks' banner actually was Majin Vegeta and what's his face? Yeah, it was Majin Vegeta and Egil Trunks. Those characters are actually on this current Halloween banner in Global. So here's my theory. My theory is that those characters are going to be taken off for God Goku and Kale, and then God Goku and Kale actually return because the androids are the next banner slated out to. When did Kale come on a Global?
She was April this year.
Yeah.
No, on Global.
Yeah, April. Oh no, wait, I did. Yeah, no, that was I'm trying to remember because I made a video, which I don't normally do for JP releases. But
Kale was between.
She was between the anniversary and World War. No, she was before anniversary because it was Kale and then Super Boo right before the anniversary. Yeah.
So what is that? That's June, right?
Yes.
So yeah, because it's July's the anniversary, I think, for Global. So I think that's enough time because at this point, I think that if it's like next month, then yeah, I think that's a good amount of time frame to return Kale and God Goku on the Trunks banner. That would actually, well, I guess another thing is that the STR Android 17 and 18, they return on the 17s, I mean, they return on that banner too. So maybe maybe they don't return 3 Dokkan Fest on the same banner. Maybe they do. What if it's like
Why
Trunks,
not?
the 17s, Kale and God Goku? I feel like at least
That
God
would be
Goku
crazy.
would like probably return on this banner instead of like Majin Vegeta or Trunks, and then maybe Trunks is substituted with some other random unit. But I'm thinking like if Global wants to return God Goku, they're way more likely to change this Trunks banner than they are to change the Tanabana banner because they don't.
Yeah, I agree.
They like almost never change Dokkan Fest LR banners.
Yeah.
Whilst T-War Dokkan Fest banners, they change quite a bit, like a lot of the times on Global. So I think that on August 11th of August, Kale releasing there. So yeah, I would say okay, in that situation, I would say maybe Kale doesn't return, but it's like the 17s, and then God Goku returns.
Yeah.
And then maybe when the androids come out in potentially March, it's like
Mhm.
Kale returns, and then they put some other unit on the banner instead of God Goku, and then God Goku return the next banner on Saiyan Day, March 18th, right? Like I kind of like if you're thinking like really ahead in terms of how they're going to schedule these
Yeah.
out, but who knows?
Makes
They,
sense.
but the
Yeah.
sync, they could like really do whatever. It could be Super Saiyan 4 Goku next, and it's like, oh,
True.
well,
That's
there
true.
you go, right? You can never really 100% predict these things. I know me and Ningen were talking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, 0% chance Super Saiyan 4 Goku's next. That was kind of like being
Zero.
Yeah,
hyperbole.
yeah. That's what we
But,
like to
like-
joke,
Yeah.
right? There's never a 0% chance of
Right,
anything.
right.
Yeah.
But
But it's like,
I
feel
agree
like
that it's very unlikely.
unlikely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
'Cause-
just
I
do
don't
think so,
see
too.
them doing that.
Yeah.
And I think I feel like I want to say that as well because a lot of people are kind of a lot of times people like got this mindset of oh this thing could be next, and then it turns into a mindset of this thing should be next. This is what I expect 100% to get, and then it's like when it doesn't happen, people get
Then
disappointed.
yeah, people are set up.
It's
Yeah.
like if people are setting themselves up to expect Super Saiyan 4 Goku to be next on Global,
I would
that's
think he
just
wouldn't be either way. Yeah.
kind of like even if you don't expect it and it does happen, you're like, oh cool, he's next. I guess
Right. Exactly.
if I wanted to, but I don't think so. But yeah, I don't know. I started as just like completely rambling into there. Ningen, what are you thinking about the next Dokkan Fest? Oh, but sorry, Ningen, I cut you off, and I was gonna segue into you. For JP, I'm just gonna throw my guess out there. Well, we'll talk
Yeah.
about JP after. Let's finish up the global talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, like I say, I made a video breaking down the timeline. I think it makes way more sense for Trunks to come out because all the reasons, like you said, right? Splitting up the thing with the Tanabata, like how part 1 with the Goku just
Yeah.
feeds into part 2 with the Omega. And then the only other thing we didn't mention that I wanted to add is obviously remember last year we got the Tanabata banner at the end of November, and then going into December we got the double rates Zamasu Carnival banner, which obviously that same timeline would then line up for us to get Goku at the end of November and then get that Carnival double rates Omega LR banner in that same spot that the Zamasu one was last year. So it all lines up perfectly, I think, to be the same as it was last year, which means Trunks, I assume, is going to be next. And yeah, I kind of agree. I think it's more likely they'll add God Goku onto his banner because we got a bit sidetracked when we talked about it before by talking about the details about the numbers. Because obviously, I repeated the misinformation that I had been told that Trunks' banner was terribly performing. But my point more so on that is even if that's not statistically true, they probably see a lot of the feedback from the community that a lot of people just, especially from the global perspective, like do not care about summoning for Trunks. So putting God Goku on his banner would obviously encourage some more people who probably wouldn't have summoned to maybe try a few summons, especially because Global will get stuff like ticket packs and things like that. So for spending players, if you're somebody that wants God Goku, you might not have bought like the ticket pack for Trunks' banner, but now potentially you will because it has God Goku on it. So
Right.
I definitely see the logic behind that, right? So him coming back on that banner, Trunks being next, God Goku. Obviously Trunks didn't have a part 2 LR, so then it leads perfectly into Heroes, and then Full Power Super Saiyan 4 Goku. I think last year it was like the 28th and Heroes was the 22nd, and we already know this year that Heroes is the 21st or the 22nd depending on your time zone, and so then that just lines up perfectly with last year for then Goku to come out on the 28th and Omega to come out mid-December. So Yeah, I think that's how it's going to be. If they are, obviously, I was quite surprised actually when I woke up today and saw that thing in the news about the Breakers stream, because obviously that does
Yeah,
essentially confirm that they were going to be announcing something for global as well. I
right,
assume, because otherwise, why would you put it in there, right? If you weren't
right.
like
It doesn't make
going to
sense.
mention
Yeah.
global. So obviously, we'll get onto the speculation of what the next JP thing will be. I think there is, I guess, the slight possibility that it could be a dual release and they do the thing like the gammas where it comes out like a week later for global. I don't like it
That would
when
be
they do
cool.
that, obviously, as like a global, especially as like a content creator. I don't want to wait a week. I don't like waiting
Yeah.
6 months or whatever as it is, but I don't want to wait a week because then it's you kind of missed out on like the fresh hype, and then you're kind of, it's like coming to the party when most of the people have already
Right.
left, kind of thing, right? So
Yeah.
it's I hope they don't do that. But with the way they worded it, as Minato explained, right, when they mentioned late October for JP and then early November for global, that makes it seem very unlikely that it will be the same thing. And if they want to sync as quickly as possible, we don't know what the plan for that is still. But dropping another random same time release in the schedule doesn't obviously help us get any closer to that goal. We need to be catching up to the stuff that JP
Right.
has. Funnily enough, this is a whole separate topic, so I won't go off on a big tangent now. I actually think doing a global first would be a good way for them to catch up the timeline, because then when we're getting something that JP has, then they could be getting the thing that global got as the global first. But
That's true.
it's but yeah, we'll see. I mean, like the global first, I don't know. There's a whole, that could be a whole other conversation for another time. But yeah, I think it'll be Trunks next, but we will see. Potentially tomorrow. Well, it won't even be tomorrow
Yeah.
for some of you guys.
Today.
Because
It'll
for
be
me,
today,
like I
yeah.
said, that stream is at 3 o'clock in the morning. So your boy is going to be tucked up in bed asleep. And I'll just have to do a video about whatever it is afterwards because I'm pretty tired.
Yeah, I'm excited for it though. It's going to be interesting because I do really wonder, right? And I guess this is kind of will lead into our next like topic of trying to predict what's going to be next on JP. But I will say I do think it would be really cool, I'm not going to lie, if the character that they announced for Global and JP is something related to the Breakers anniversary. Like it doesn't have to be, right? Because obviously all the games are there just to kind of present whatever. But I do think it would be really sick if they did introduce like, a brand new full power or Fury Broly on
Yes.
Dokkan, and
That's
then
what I'm
obviously like an
thinking,
LF or
yeah.
something. Right? Like that would be super cool. Because obviously, right? I mean, I guess Legends is a lot more represented when it comes to DBS Broly, ironically enough, compared to Dokkan. But obviously, Dokkan does not really have that much DBS Broly representation in terms of the big man himself, the literal big man himself. So, that would be really cool to announce that with the Breakers stuff, to obviously kind of coincide with that. So I would definitely be down for that, right? I don't know if they would do a standalone Blue Gogeta necessarily, because obviously Blue Gogeta is also in the art for the Breakers wallpaper that we're going to be getting. Which, by the way, I did want to note real quick. I don't know if I don't think we have a topic specifically about this. So it's kind of just more so about the Breakers thing. But I did want to mention that the Breakers wallpaper, the one that we got on
The Dokkan spoiler.
JP. Yeah, the Dokkan spoiler. First of all, which I will say, man, I feel really bad for the Breakers dev team because, bro, could you imagine, like, you've been preparing your anniversary. It's the thing that could, potentially, like, bigger game back to the limelight. And some other bigger game is just like, oh, yeah, just some, like, little bonus thing we're giving our players. That spoils the entire thing for your audience. Like, bro, what the heck? It's just so doing them dirty. But regardless though, right?
Spoiler is so funny.
The
Like,
JP spoiler, bro.
Omatsu lost. He's like, that's it. It's over for you.
It's time to spoil, bro. Yeah, because that's right. Like, I'd assume, right? I don't know if the stream will actually be live or if it'll just be pre-recorded. Like, I know it's not. Okay, so then, yeah. So then, there you go. That is actually the case. Yeah, it's like 2 hours. Yeah, it's like an hour 48 or something like that.
Yeah, that's why we know, because it's pre-recorded.
Right. So, bro, that will be something super funny if he actually does lose. He just got salty about the whole thing. But
He's like,
low key though,
like, imagine you
like
stepped in there and he blamed the intern. He's like,
he's like, oops, sorry, my bad.
why did you do that? And then he's like,
sorry. But yeah, like I don't know. I do think that was interesting that it was only on JP and not on global. However, I'm kind of thinking that probably the case with that is honestly just going to be that during the like either later on or during the breaker stream, global will get a data download for that, because there's no reason why they shouldn't get that, especially considering, like Ningyan was just mentioning, in the global news they had the little notice about the breaker stream. So I would think that both versions would get it. I think it's just a matter of global not adding it in at the same time as JP, which is fine. And to be fair, yeah, I would think so. And the wallpapers will also be slightly different because the JP one has the JP text under the English one, and I'm sure the English one will not have that, so it'll be a little bit different. But yeah, either way though, I think it'll be really cool if they do give us Broly. Like I was saying, right, Gogeta's on that wallpaper. I don't necessarily think that Gogeta, because I would feel like they wouldn't just have him as like a monthly Dokkan Fest or something like that.
Yeah, this is just no. Well, I mean, I mean, technically in this slot, we got Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta.
That's
so it's
true.
not like,
true.
like impossible, but I doubt it. Especially with how they do these TUR Dokkan Fest now. They usually give characters who haven't had a Dokkan Fest to get one, which is helpful. Yeah, but I see someone in chat say, like, we're talking about the next Dokkan Fest in GP now. Because we know in the last data download on JP, we got this Chain Battle Nappa art. And a lot of people are thinking it's Chain Saga.
Yep.
So it's like that's a very good point, a valid point. It could just be completely unrelated to Broly, just Saiyan Saga.
It could be, yeah.
Hear my idea out, right?
It could be pure Saiyans too.
Yeah, you know how Dragon Ball The Breakers is about, obviously it's like raiders and survivors. What if it's like Saiyans from like other worlds, or like Saiyan Raiders kind of celebration where it's like Saiyans from space coming to Earth, where it's
that would be cool.
Get like Broly, there's Chain Battle Nappa, we get Vegeta Nappa easy, maybe Tackle or Broly gets an easy A.
That would be cool.
Right? It's like, I think the celebration themed around that could be interesting, and it would fit with like Breakers, but like who knows?
Dude,
maybe it's just like Dokkan Fest Krillin.
Now that you say that though, that's actually an amazing idea. Could you imagine if it's a whole Breakers themed celebration and they have new stuff for all the raiders, right? Because obviously one of the raiders in the game is Vegeta and Nappa.
Yeah.
So
that saying, like, I love Vegeta and Nappa
cool.
EZA. We can get EZA for the even take Broly, even do Wrath for Broly because he's gonna be in Breakers now.
That could be something with Frieza and Boo.
That would be so the funny thing about that would be the fact that if it was even essentially like, because they could even have it styled and even like named, it could be like the Breakers collab celebration. But then it'll be really funny when all they reveal for global is Trunks.
Yeah, it could.
Gee, great.
It again, you can get like a Final Form Frieza banner unit, because like just a normal Final Form Frieza banner unit from like the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, Paragus and Broly EZA. There's like a ton they could do, and I think that'd be really interesting. But yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool if they do something similar to that.
I had a cool idea based on, I saw somebody in the chat say the Fury Broly with the active skill, I think they said active skill, but where Paragus dies and he transforms into
that would be sick.
Because the scene, I don't think it's in anything in the game, is it? Or
no,
Broly doesn't have an intro. They don't have the bit where the bit from the trailer where he like rises up out of the crater as like
that's in Fizz Broly.
Oh, it's in the Super, but they could put that in. But something that I think would be kind of cool, because of like, to keep it on point with like the theme of the scene, because you got to have Frieza there with Frieza's hilarious acting,
right?
So what if it was a revival? So it's like you get hit by a big super attack and then you get the animation of Frieza going, Broly, look, your father was killed by the energy blast, and then he revives and transforms into full power Super Saiyan Broly. That would be so good.
You know what I want? I would like if it's an active skill transformation, but also an AoE.
That'd be cool.
World tournaments.
Of course.
If Paragus is on the team, turn 1, AoE active skill transformation.
Yep, do
And
the
then
Broly and
guess
Paragus
what?
Easy A, and then off you
Yeah,
go.
and then just put them on your World Tournament team, and you're cooking, and then you have 3 active skill characters in the World Tournament, both
That's
my
true.
junior leads, and then Broly.
That's
Because
true.
would Broly
That'd
be
be
in
cool.
his leader skill actually? Maybe not. Dang it.
Eh,
No.
wait,
I'm
which?
wrong.
Under my junior's
My
leader skill,
junior.
you mean? I don't know.
What is my junior's leader skill?
You
You keep
know,
talking. What's it?
talking about that, you know what I will say? It's a little bit off topic, but man, it's literally the card art for the int one, and it's so disappointing that it's not the active skill. Or in the actual Broly movie, we were robbed of that, by the way. Where like in
Yes,
the
Broly's
Japanese one.
Ungifted Warriors. It
Oh,
would
there
work
you
out.
go. There you go.
Yeah.
He's cooking. He's cooking. In the like trailer for the Broly movie, right? Like in the Japanese version, he was like, Yano Broly. And then like in the English one, he was like Broly or Go Broly, something like
Yeah.
that. But they
Yeah,
changed it in the dub and the sub, so that in the sub it was
Yeah.
Broly Yane, and then in the dub it was like Broly Go or something like that. First of all, just absolute shaft. But I do think that would also be cool if they had that as like the intro for one of those Brolys, because that would be a super sick scene to represent.
Yeah, because
in
isn't
terms
it
like,
kind
an
of
actual
like,
animation.
isn't that sort of what the Paragus and Broly super attack is?
It's
But do it
supposed to
better
be,
than
but
that,
it's not
obviously, right?
voiced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I
Yeah,
mean,
as
'cause
an
to be
intro,
fair,
that'd be awesome. Just have them like
Right.
walking down the steps of the ship, and then have Paragus being like, "Go!" and he just like launches forward, and then that's the intro
that would be
animation.
amazing.
That'd be sick.
Because
Yeah.
like the thing is,
I
though,
would like the animation of like Broly powering up in the water when he gets up from the water.
oh, true.
That would be cool, right? There's like so many
Yeah.
animations that a Fury
Yeah.
could have.
Actually, it is actually
There's so many
mind-boggling when
things.
you think about like when that movie came out and how little like Dragon Ball Super Broly representation there is.
honestly,
I
in the game.
know.
it doesn't even
It's
have
kinda
to be like a
wild.
transforming like Wrath for Broly to Super Saiyan. It could just be Broly into Wrath for Broly, right? Because it's
Yeah.
not like we have a good like base from Broly, but like it would also be good to get like a named character for like everything. And I guess like maybe
Right.
in the future we get like another just like normal base from Broly, but I don't know. I think like
Yeah.
Wrath. I guess Broly Wrathful would be best case scenario as the name of the character. Because we could always get another like base from Broly, but I feel like Wrath for Broly is something we won't.
Yeah,
use
because we
this-
only have that AGL one that obviously because they easy aid him on release, he's just been like dead in the water for ages.
My
but-
boy being hooked. Yeah. So that would be cool. I agree. I mean, to be fair though, I do think for sure that, I mean, obviously this kind of extends to Gogeta as well, but for Broly and Gogeta, I think we definitely need both of their final forms as just them. Like no transformation or nothing. We need full power, quote unquote legendary Super Saiyan Broly and Blue Gogeta as just like standalone, just them cards. So that would also be cool. Like I think, to be fair, with how little Brolys there are in the game, really anything that they could do would honestly be good, right? Like I think really the only option that would maybe be kind of stinky would just if he was Super Saiyan, because obviously the Fizz one is there.
Yeah, well, it's not even the Fizz one. The Tech one needs to get his EZA, right? The
Yeah.
movie one. So I guess
Right.
like Wrathful that transforms into Super Saiyan, then the Easy the Tech one, and then we also get what's it called, like a GPLR full powered Super Saiyan Broly.
Because that was
Yeah.
the
It's
problem
like,
with them. Not obviously they didn't differentiate in the name for like between Dragon Ball Super Broly and Z Broly,
Which
like,
is so dumb.
because I know a lot of
Yeah.
us speculated at the time that they might do that, like with units that have like brackets GT. But unfortunately,
Right.
because they didn't do that, it means we've ended up in a situation where we have like Z Brolys and Super Brolys that are just called
Competing,
Super
yeah.
Saiyan Broly. So him being like Wrathful, I think at least, even if whether he stays Wrathful, whether he transforms or not, having the
Right.
Wrathful at the start, I think would be the best in terms of
Ideal.
naming. And then I mentioned
Yeah.
this, so I don't know how deep we want to go into speculation about who the Dokkan Fest could be, but to keep it on the similar topic, I did make a tweet about it the other day. If it's not going to be Wrathful Broly, so we could still get some of those easy A's from that celebration and stuff like that, give us a Dokkan Fest exclusive God Vegeta, where his intro is the transformation from the movie, where he's flying up in the air and transforms into God.
Oh, man.
Because
Don't get
then,
my hopes up.
then you could lead us into the New Year Dual Dokkan Fest being Blue Gogeta and Full Power Broly or something,
Oh,
right?
bro.
So,
See, now you're just cooking my
because
brain here.
Vegeta family constantly needs buffs. We never get like really
Yep.
powerful, good standalone Vegeta cards. So yeah, could do Dokkan Fest God Vegeta and make him like Junior level, right? And then
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be great. Yeah.
I would definitely be down for that.
Yeah, I think that'd be just really, really sick. If there's tons they can do with Broly, right? So very excited.
Oh, that comment was so funny. All this hyper super trunks. No.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting though, regardless.
Yeah, it's like
right?
someone
I
posted the meme earlier of like Amatsu coming on stage during the Breakers stream trying to hype up Super Trunks, and it's just that picture of like someone talking to a brick wall. Like, could you imagine though? It's like I said just now, right? Imagine if they actually did announce some super crazy like Breakers themed celebration for JP with like a new Broly, Vegeta and Nappa Easy A, like, and they're showing all the pictures of like the Raiders, and then it's like, oh yeah, and Global's getting tech Trunks.
I would assume they would get Global out of the way.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would think if they would do that, it would be a dual celebration, right? Like, it couldn't not be at that point. I would think that it would definitely be like, because it wouldn't make sense, because obviously the whole thing is it's Breaker's anniversary, right?
But
I would
it's
think
so weird because it's like, you know, like the different release times. So like, what's the point of
Maybe
releasing
the global intern made an oopsie again, and it should have said November in the global post.
maybe they suck at
Or October, sorry, the other way around.
I really want to know who the intern is that we're always like the hypothetical of making fun of him. If he really does exist, I want to meet that guy. I want him to come on stream sometime.
But that's also like stupid. Like, why were they having?
Yeah, I always thought that was like kind of a silly decision.
I mean, it'd be funny. I mean, it would work.
It would be kind of funny. It would be kind of funny. I suppose, but I would think like even at least if they were gonna do like that celebration, I would think, to be honest though, like, because the nice thing would be if they did do a quote unquote like Breakers collab, right? They could still do the entire collab on both Global and JP and just not give Global Broly if it was Broly, as much as that would be kind of like stupid, to be honest with you. But if they really did want to like just keep up the like schedule, right, as it is now, obviously all the free units and all the events and stuff like that, like all of that, you know, I suppose that they could just bring it to Global anyway. And then, you know, because he's just a normal Dokkan Fest, and, you know, I assume he wouldn't be like Dragon Ball the Breakers Broly or something like that. You know how we technically have like fighters cards and Xenoverse cards and stuff like that, right? I would assume he wouldn't be like that. I would think he would just be a normal Dokkan Fest, and they can just do that. Even though, again, I think that would be very silly, but I mean, I guess it's possible. So,
yep.
Who knows?
Dokkan do be silly sometimes.
Dokkan do be silly. This is true.
My chair is like falling down for some reason. That's really strange. It's like so. I think it's about time we head into our final segment of the podcast. Very sad.
Oh, you know what this one is, boys?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Trash takes.
Trash takes, baby.
Trash takes. So, this year, I almost said this year for some reason. This time, I did go ahead and pick the trash takes segment here, and the actual take itself. So whenever Ningen wants to go ahead and put it on the screen, we'll go ahead and talk about it.
Oh boy!
I actually didn't even look this time. I was kind of saving it to give you the live Dokkan Assets reaction.
Like, this one is like interesting because I feel
I've seen this guy floating around Twitter before. I recognize that username.
Yeah,
and that icon.
So this right here. 8th year is the darkest year of Dokkan so far, and I'm scared for the future at this point. So, this is definitely just like a very point blank, very just like straight away take.
Oh, that's so funny, dude.
Because the 8th year. So there is actually some extra context that was provided in the replies. So what happens is I saw Ningen actually respond. Ningen said, you know, there is like the Sink and Pity being introduced. Something is a volcano hot take, which I agree with. But then the extra response right here. So he says, I don't care about those things. They're great and all, but they don't affect me. I don't need pity. I've been lucky in my summons always. The fact that there's no more version Z quality of life.
I'll tell you why I'm laughing. I'm
rolled
sorry.
out or badly needed for the game still. Plus, what are these mid banners? So basically the point that he's making is version Z ended. He gets lucky, so pity doesn't matter. And he doesn't care about the sink.
That's crazy. Minato just destroyed this man in 2 seconds, bro.
I didn't even say.
I was gonna say exactly. Let me at him.
Yeah, bro, we gotta hold Ningen back. We gotta hold him back before he rips this guy in shreds.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah,
Ian.
Nika, go first. I have a
Go
couple of
on.
things to say about this. I'll explain why I was laughing too.
Yeah, so I'll put the poll in the chat. So obviously for the benefit of the people who are watching it live, put a poll in the chat. Let us know what you think, W or L take. For those of you listening to the pre-recorded version, if you can, why not stop by sometime, catch it live, take part in these little segments. But
And the poll should be on Spotify because I think that
nice.
finally started working. So if you want to vote on the poll, if you're listening on Spotify, you should be able to vote. Is this a W or an L take? What do you think?
There you go. So yeah, I'm seeing some people in the chat say W take awful arguments. Yeah, L take. I mean, I guess I could see some reasons behind the take, but I do think, like Minato said, when you read it out again, I could already feel, because I saw his reply to my reply, but I could already feel my blood boiling again, because it's like, when someone says like, whatever it is, whether something's good or bad, but someone gives their opinion on something and you give them all the reasons why it's wrong, and they're just like, well, that didn't affect me, so I don't care. It's like, bruh, come on. Like, the two things that I said, right? Pity and the sync being announced. Like, those are the two. The sync is the thing that we've been waiting for years. Well, actually, no, so is Pity. They both are. And so to turn around and say, well, I don't care about those things because I just get lucky in my summons. It's like, bro, come on. No,
that is quite scary.
So now to obviously get into like the meat of the take. It is the stuff like we have seen some very weird releases this year. But I've seen a lot of people talking about this. This topic has come up quite a bit. I think we got a similar comment. It might have even been from the same person for like last week's one as well. But I have seen a lot of people talking about it. And I feel like people do very often forget that we do always get like weird, mid or even bad releases like every year. Like someone made a list of all the weird, terrible things that came out last year that everyone hated, but then listed like all the stuff that people really liked. And like usually the liked stuff outweighs the unliked stuff, right? And that happens not just in the year as a whole, but even within celebrations as well, right? Like, we talked about it on the previous episodes when those events were happening, but like how many people went crazy about like no Goku Black for Worldwide, so suddenly Worldwide was ruined. But then like when you look back at it afterwards and you think about how many great things we got and even how many good easy A's we got compared to how many that we got that weren't that good, like for the most part, like all the stuff that was good was really, really good. And then obviously some of the stuff that was bad was just bad. It is weird. We talked about it, of course, on these episodes. Like we don't know why they make the decisions they make sometimes. These random Dokkan Fest coming out and getting really weird restrictions, whatever sort of like vendetta they seem to have against the extreme class. But usually like the good stuff is good, right? And again, I can't like stress enough how like sync and like pity are like the two things that the community has wanted. Not everyone wants to sync, I get it, but like it's the two biggest things that the community has wanted for like years, and they finally announced that they're doing that like this year. So those two things immediately stand out to me because, they're work in progress. We don't have the sync yet, and the pity is only on yellow coin banners. But the fact that they're making those steps in the right direction, I think is already a good sign. So yeah, I don't know. I can see where they're coming from in the sense of, I think some of the things that have been bad this year or have been disappointing have been like very disappointing, especially to specific people. But, the community, as we say all the time, right? People are often the loudest when things aren't going so great. Like the negative voices, especially on like Twitter and stuff, are always the loudest. But for the most part, I mean, Dokkan, it seems like they are, to some extent, listening to people's feedback. Whales will always exist in games, so it's not a measurement that a game is good or is doing well, but like the game continues to make stuff, like continues to make more and more money. They just there's a few weird glaring issues that they do need to fix 100%. But I think going as far as saying it's like the darkest year of Dokkan so far. I mean, I don't know, was Homie around when like Dokkan events were 50 stamina and then disappeared for 6 months? And like, I don't know, like, I don't know if this is the darkest year of Dokkan so far. But yeah.
Year. Okay, so
but that's me done. I mean, you tag in.
So first of all, right, that's just such a funny like like just sentence in general, because it's, I don't know, it just sounds like somebody like on the internet like typing on a green text post or something like that. Um, it kind of reminds me, like, it almost sounds like, you know, people describe, I know this is such a weird comparison, but people describe like the Wii U era of Nintendo as like the dark ages of Nintendo and like the dark years of Nintendo, which just is another reason why this made me laugh. But like, hearing this, especially with that guy's response, with like the way that he explained himself, I swear like bro thinks that he's in like an edit or something. Like he said it and then like the beat drops and Miguel O'Hara's like trap remix theme plays or something. I don't know.
Okay.
It's just like in my mind imagining this is so funny. But like, in terms of the take itself, right? Like I understand where he's coming from, right? Like Ningen said, it's kind of like, and I feel like this is the case with a lot of the takes that we take a look at on this section of the podcast, right? It's like, I can understand where people are coming from, and I understand some of, you know, like the points that people make and their kind of logic behind it, even though I still disagree. Because again, right, it's like, I feel like you also kind of have to look at it. It's like, okay, sure, there were some Dokkan Fests, and honestly, that may even be the biggest problem with this year, is that a lot of the regular Dokkan Fests are just kind of like or bad.
A lot of them? You mean
Not all of them, right? Like a lot of them, though, right? All of them.
All of them?
But obviously, you know, not all of them are bad or just okay, right? There's still ones that are good. But again, like Ningen said, not only is that the case every year, but I feel like also just saying this because the good things that are happening to the game, quote unquote, don't affect you, right? Which I don't even know if that's just the case. I think it's just you haven't gotten shafted that bad yet, so you don't know that the pity would help you that much, right? But like, just in general too, right? Like I feel like because the game is doing good things and they may not affect you directly, doesn't necessarily mean that the game as a whole is not doing a good job, right? I think it's just that you're not enjoying the game as much because of the decisions that they're making and the benefits of these things you can't really reap, right? Because obviously they don't necessarily affect you. So, and that's okay, right? Like, I don't think that that's necessarily like a bad thing, quote unquote, right? To like not necessarily like enjoy or be like, oh yeah, all of these changes, you know, I'm so excited about them. You know, that like because they just don't affect you. Like, I don't think that that's wrong to not be excited, but at the same time, I don't think it's right to then put down the rest of the game because obviously the game is making, you know, relatively good decisions. You know, so I think it's just kind of you have to change your perspective a little bit, right? Like you kind of have to realize that I don't want to say this because it sounds like I'm kind of laying into this guy. This is a nice guy because, like I said, I've seen this guy around the community, but I think it's just like it doesn't always revolve around you, right? You have to realize that there's so many different types of players playing the game that, you know, all these different changes affect everybody in different ways, and it's always not necessarily going to be, you know, affecting you directly. So that's basically meaning, and I want to hear what you have to say. I'm gonna keep Miguel O'Hara's theme playing in my head in the meantime.
Okay, but I'm just saying, I'll open Twitter for a second and see Dokkan assets talking about I got paid by Twitter, and he's talking right now. I'm like, okay, buddy, but I think that the take is not necessarily like, you know, an L take because it's really also subjective. Like obviously you need to also understand that it's not specifically like you can't say this thing was added but I don't care about it so it's a bad addition or it's like, you know, it doesn't matter at all when a lot of people maybe it does matter and it does help improve the game in some way even if it doesn't directly affect you, like the pity system, right? It is just a good thing to add to the game. There's no negative for you not having it, but the way it, like the statement is stating is like I'm scared for the future. You're making it seem like it's bad to add it in general when it's like if it
Right.
doesn't affect you, how is it even bad? It shouldn't mean anything, right? You know, and there are points you can make, like, oh, the character designs have been, dropping in quality. There's a bunch of little things that you could say that you didn't really like, but I feel like I don't really like the points that were listed necessarily in terms of like, on how it is like, oh, again, it doesn't affect me, so it sucks. It's kind of like
Yeah.
if it's like it doesn't affect me, so I don't really care, or I'm losing interest in Dokkan. But it's like you're saying like it sucks because of this, and it's like doesn't really add up to me personally.
He's so fucking good at math, but that don't add up, bro.
Yeah, it's like I think like a lot of people were saying, like Ningen said, it's a fine take, but the actual points supporting it aren't really that great. When there are
Yeah.
actually like changes and stuff to the game this year, or like the character design stuff that like don't really make it like as favorable compared to previous years. And I think there's so much you could talk about that the game
Yeah.
needs to improve, but
There's so many high
yeah.
points as well. Like, for the most part, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, the counter to this point is the fact that we got in LR Goku in the same year. But, like, people often talk about, like, yellow coin LRs and how they're not good enough and all that kind of stuff. And then, like, this is the year that we got Bulma as a yellow coin LR.
Yep,
And she came
that's
out and was,
true.
like,
Just, like,
one of the best
yeah.
units in the game. Like, there's a few things that they've hit on throughout the year that have just been really, really good, like, overall. And not just like bringing out one good unit is not the kind of thing I mean, I guess, but like there's been a few things that have just been really good for the game overall. But yeah, like it's like you said, it's just, and I guess we kind of all touched on it a little bit, but like, yeah, a good thing happening, but it doesn't really affect you. So it's like, oh, well, I don't care then. It doesn't count. The game's only doing bad things. It's like, but
Bro said, I don't care, Giga Chad theme plays.
yeah. So what was the meme? It's like bro took a calculated risk. Unfortunately, he sucks at maths. So,
Ningen, what is the poll actually? What is the
so the poll
I don't know.
what are we looking
currently
at?
is at 60-40, 60% for L take. So I think it's like we kind
I
of
think
said, right? The take itself isn't necessarily just a whole like fat L, but like the reasoning behind it, and then when you start to break down some of the like stuff that we've has been going on throughout the year, I personally feel like if I was voting, I would vote L, but I don't know what you guys
Yeah.
think for the final.
I mean, I would
I vote
say
L. Oh, I would vote
I'll
L, yeah.
take in regard, because there are still a lot of good things about 8th year, and it's like in general, it's like at least for me personally, again, if we're giving opinion based things,
Mhm.
8th year has been one of the most fun years for me. At the same time, even though there's been a lot of like unfortunate lows, the high points for me hit. I got a lot of characters I personally wanted. The Z Spirit Bomb I wanted for a long time. 23rd World Tournament I've wanted for a long time. God Goku we've all wanted for a long time, right?
Yep.
Vegito Blue finally got a card. Even Future Gohan, I'm a big fan of Future Gohan. I've wanted sort of hope Trunks to get a new card for such a long time. There's so many of these characters that got representation this year that I think that I've wanted for such a long time that it just like I can't really be upset at that, right?
Yeah.
Even though he sucks, you got your Super 17.
Yeah, we don't talk about that, but well, it's like even think about things like I think it was taken. Someone said it was taken from another game that isn't out yet, and I don't know how confirmed that is. Like if it's going to be from Budokai Tenkaichi 4 or Xenoverse DLC that's not out or something, I don't know. But like we got a thing that people have been looking forward to for a long time this year, which was a Dokkan Fest God Goku that has the "I will not let you destroy my world" in an actual really good quality like dub active skill. Like, man, that was so hype. Like I say, there's been bad things, but like the good things have been so good that I feel like calling it the darkest year in the game's history is a bit
definitely not, bro. You gotta go
OTT.
back to that 1 month when it was like, was it like it was in April or something like that, where it's like the only thing I think like it was so dead in GP and global, like the only thing that came out was like some Battle of Gods Monarch Beerus event, and then that was like the whole April.
Yeah.
It was this, I think was it 2018? It was such a long time ago.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember though. Yeah. I
And
mean,
then one other thing is, remember the time where global was like broken for like a week
Yeah, that was easily
Couldn't
worse for
play,
sure.
You can't even play the game. For
You
like
could
a week or two.
literally
Yeah,
could not
true.
play
Like,
the
yeah, we
game,
have literally gone through periods where the game was unplayable, which hasn't happened
Yep.
this year. So, you
Like
know,
literally, quite
literally unplayable.
You
Like
couldn't
that's not
enter
even like a
events.
figure of speech.
Like, you
Yeah,
couldn't enter events to do anything.
yeah.
So I don't know,
No.
but yeah, I think that's at the end of the day, that's pretty much it for the hot take segment. We got a good amount of things, and I think that both sides definitely do have valid points. I wouldn't say complete L, but I think most of us do agree that it's not really the darkest year, and I would say you don't have to be scared for Dokkan. There's still
No,
plenty
no.
of lifetime and Dokkan and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll go ahead and continue on to the final section, which is the donos and everything like that. Where we're gonna read out any of your questions that you have. That's Ningen's side. Ningen is the one who's able to see it. I cannot. So go ahead.
That's Ningen. Take it away, my brother.
I didn't unmute, but now I have. So shout out to our boy Mega Nice for the 55 TRY. Every time this man is a regular on my streams, and I always get confused about what this currency is, but I appreciate you, my dude. He says, my costume for this Halloween is Hero Celebration Delayed post. No, we will not be having any of that. There will be no heroes getting delayed. No even hints or jokes about heroes getting delayed. That's not happening. But I appreciate you, Mega Nice. We also have a $5 super chat from Daniel Rodriguez. He says, I think this came in during the trash take segment, right? I summoned on banners where you only got an SR guaranteed. Those were the dark days.
Yup. Yes, sir.
Yeah, dude, because who remembers even again, that kind of jogs my memory. But like the days before guaranteed SSR. Like
Yep.
bruh.
Oh my goodness.
I remember my horror story from that is I don't think I'd been making content for all that long. But I did a stream where I think it was like 750 stones on Int LR Bojack when he came out on Global.
Oh, yeah,
So that was in the days before Guaranteed SSR. And in those 15 multis, I think I got like 6 SSRs. And they were all like unfeatured trash garbage that I didn't want. Like it was awful.
That is bad.
So yeah, those were the dark days.
The Dokkan special of getting like 9 rares.
But yeah, so that's it for the super chats. Appreciate you guys for your support, and yeah, that's it for those. Back to you, Minato.
So yeah, I mean that is pretty much it for the Islam One Super Podcast episode 9 this week. Again, the Breaker stream will be in about 5 hours. I saw somebody asking at the time of this recording. I'm sure by the time if you're watching this on Spotify like the next day, we'll know who the next like Dokkan Fest and stuff like that.
Yep.
I know that I will likely be going live regarding that. I'm not sure if Dokkan Asses will be going.
I will be, yeah.
There you go. Dokkan Asses will be live. If I don't go live myself, I think I will be on Iron Cane's channel, like in a voice chat with the Iron
nice.
Shout out to him. He's one of the bigger Breakers content creators, and he's been grinding. So
he is the Breakers content creator. That's Mr. Dragon Ball the Breakers right there.
Yeah, dude. No, seriously though, shout out to the boy. Like he loves that game.
Sure.
He started making content on it. He stuck with it when everyone said it was trash and dead game. And now look at it, the boy's cooking. So shout out to Iron Cane.
I think Breakers has a very it's not the biggest fan base, but has a very dedicated, loving fan base.
Yes, 100%.
I don't see any Breakers people being super mega toxic like that a lot of the times. But also I'm on Dokkan Twitter, not Breakers Twitter.
Yeah. Does Breakers Twitter exist? I'm not sure. I don't really know.
We'll have to ask Iron King about that. But yeah, again,
well, we need to get the Iron King opinion.
If I'm not live, I'll be on Iron King's channel or something like that. So yeah, and we'll keep you updated next week on whatever Dokkan Battle news comes out.
Yeah,
and that's it from me.
I have to give myself the cheap plug as well for those of you who are here live. As this stream comes to an end, we are 2 minutes away from it being bang on the hour. I will be going live on my second channel to stream Alan Wake 2. So if you want to come and check out some spooky survival horror action game, I'll be live on my second channel in 2 minutes. So I'll put the link in the chat.
2 minutes, wow!
Support the boy Ningen. So I guess just go ahead and end the stream, obviously, or the podcast, whatever, however you want to say it. Thank you to everyone who came by, and we'll catch you in next week for episode 10. Pretty big episode.
Wow, I can't believe we're at episode 10 already, man. That's
episode
crazy.
10. Wow, dude. Imagine we get to episode
10.
100. We're just like,
That's
you imagine
crazy.
when
We'll be
we get to
cooking,
episode
bro.
100. Yeah.
What? Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes, sir. My go. My go.
that's like in God, I don't even want to think about it. I'm done. Whatever. Bye, guys. Have a good
Bye.
day.
Have a good one, everybody.